I know growth is never easy, but I am trusting in my journey. Last year we learned, this year we will apply. Welcome to MyCurlsSpeak with Key. Welcome back to another episode. Today's topic is letter to my ex, and of course, this is Key. I'm going to start by saying, no, this is not clickbait. This is a real letter. And I was going to do it the old-fashioned way, and I was going to write it out in a Leah 4-page letter. But with technology these days and the fact that I didn't think it was worth a stamp, I didn't do that. But with the new year approaching and my feelings being different, I felt like it was necessary for me to tell my ex how I felt about what happened between us. So I'm going to start off by reading it, and then we're going to go from there. Lately, I'm asleep before 8 p.m., so I'm going to send this text to you while I'm sober and thinking clearly. 2020 was a heavy year. A lot happened, a lot of great things and equally a lot of detrimental things. But I wanted to take the time to thank you. Thank you for teaching me valuable lessons about myself that I wouldn't have learned without you. Thank you for choosing you in spite of what position that left me, because it made me grow up and realize there were a lot of things I needed to change without having you there to catch me. Thank you for leaving me. Probably the weirdest thing you'll ever read, but I mean it, because you taught me so much in the last 6 months, and you thought you did it for you, but you did it for me too. Because one day, someone will want to be with me, and it will be adoration and not based from guilt or obligation. And in the process of that happening for me, I've learned more about me than I have in all my 30 years of living. Thank you. Thank you for showing me love, even if it was temporary. Thank you for showing me grace in a way, because the reality of it is, if you never would have left me, no matter if I was happy or not, I never would have left you. So thank you. I hope 2021 you find everything you're looking for, but most importantly, I hope you find yourself, because that's the most beautiful journey of it all. I sent that to my ex about, I'll say 3 days ago. And anyone that knows me, or if you're learning me, I am a poet, so I'm good with words. I'm good with words. But after I sent that text, it felt different, because I wasn't just saying it because it sounded good. I was saying those things because I meant it. Like, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for another chance, and I'm thankful that everything happened the way that it did, because I learned so much in such a short amount of time. And right now, life is different. If the breakup didn't happen, I wouldn't even have this platform. I wouldn't even have this podcast. So, again, thank you. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to call his name. There's no need for that. But I'm pretty sure this podcast, this episode, he's listening to it. Because despite whatever happened between us, I like to say that he's a fan of me. And what I mean by that, I don't mean that in no cocky way. I mean it as, if you ever love somebody, if you ever truly love them, you want them to be successful regardless if they're with you or not. And I remember a long time ago, it was like 3 months ago, not a long time, but Southerners, we like to exaggerate. I wrote a tweet and I said that for the first time in my life, I understand that quote where they be like, oh, well, if you really love somebody, you will love them regardless if they're with you or not. And I remember I posted it, and one of my best friends was like, well, girl, I ain't never felt like that. And I laughed, because I used to say the same thing until recently. Like, happiness is contagious, but only if you really want it. And I feel like now things are getting better for the both of us, so it's no need for us to have any ill feelings. But that all brought me back to a conversation that I had with that same friend. We went to dinner. And a episode back or two, I talked about the fact that I had never been to Texas Roadhouse before. And that was all I really was asking for last year. Well, this particular night, I called my girl and I was like, let's go to Texas Roadhouse. I want to try it. And I keep saying that and saying it, but we can just go. We can just go. So we went. And as we were there, we were having conversations, girl talk. And the conversation of my ex came up, and I told her about the letter that I wrote. And she asked me a really good question. She asked me, she said, are you ready to let all of it go? was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, are you ready to let all of it go? Are you ready to let all of the beef go with the females that you felt like he was with? Are you ready to let it all go? And I was like, nah. Like, nah, I'm not doing it. Like, no. She was like, if you can forgive him, you need to let it all go. You can forgive everybody. Because the thing is, like, anything that happened with them, he allowed it. I'm looking at her. And y'all, let me tell you something. We're going to touch on this on another episode, but accountability is a really big thing. And if you're not careful, when somebody is holding you accountable, you will feel attacked. You will feel attacked if you're not ready to accept what the person that loves you is trying to say. So when my friend told me that she felt like, I was moving kind of weird because I was holding grudges, but I wasn't holding them on who she thought I should hold them against, I was offended. And I told her, I looked her in the face, I was like, I'm offended. But you're right. I said all that to say, in so many situations we've watched where, even with love and hip hop, with reality TV shows, we see the relationships where the man cheats or he's, around other women, and the women, they team up and they're against each other. Like, when I say team up, the typical thing. You team up with people that hate the same person that you hate. Y'all know y'all watch Love and Hip Hop New York. And if you don't, you should, because Joe Budden on there. But that's a whole nother subject. But anyway, y'all seen it. You've seen it. We've witnessed it. We've witnessed friends fall out. Fall out. And don't fall back in together. But that same man that cheated on her, she took him back, but she couldn't forgive her friend. We've all seen it. We've all witnessed it. And to be honest, I think a lot of us women, especially black women, I can only speak for that because that's what I am. A lot of us, it's so much easier to forgive that man than it is to forgive a woman. And that's where the internal conflict comes in, because if you be real, a lot of the stuff that we don't like about other people is stuff that we don't like about ourselves. Now, I don't really think these women are like me, but there's something I can identify with some of that. You understand what I'm saying? So I said all that to say, she was right. She was right. Like, she was right. If I could forgive my ex for breaking my heart, I could forgive anybody if I really wanted to. I just have to make the necessary steps. I have to do the internal work, and it all does start with me. With this particular podcast, this is not a podcast of my life. But I will say that I do plan on being transparent with you guys, and I do plan on telling y'all how I really am. It won't be just the highlighted versions. Because when I was on live on Facebook months ago and I was crying, that wasn't a good highlight. That was me. I promise to keep it real with y'all. Y'all gonna know where I'm at with my healing, because it's like that. Like this morning, I was looking for a journal. I looked all in the back room for my journal, and I knew I had more than one because I have this habit of buying journals that I never write in. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. And I came across some greeting cards. It was like a card from Mother's Day, and then it was a card from my birthday, 2018. And I knew I shouldn't have read them cards, but because I came across them, I read them, and I ended up crying afterwards. But now I can talk to y'all and not a tear is on my face. I'm fine. That's how healing is. 1 minute you may be okay, and the next minute something could trigger you not to be okay, but I need you to understand that you not being okay is okay. Don't allow anybody to make you feel like, okay, you and him broke up a year ago, you should be over it. Or your dad died 3 years ago, you should be over it. There's no type of time frame for healing, regardless if it's a relationship, a friendship, a death. It's no type of time frame for that, because we don't know how you feel. Only you know how you feel, and only you know what triggers you. The only thing I can say is that I suggest that everybody do, because I do it. When you need to cry, cry. And I don't know, I feel like I do have some male followers, and I'm going to say this. If you need to cry, that's not gender friendly. I mean that it don't matter if you a woman, a man, boy, or girl. If you need to cry, cry. The world is already heavy enough. It's no need in you walking around with all of that just boxed up like that. That's not healthy. It's not safe. It's not. Now, if you're crying too much, you may need to figure out if there's something that you need to do to help you feel better. If you see that it's going on weeks or months and you're just not feeling no better, you could be depressed. And like I said, I'm not a licensed professional, so you should see a professional if that's the case. But don't walk around and act like you have it together if you don't, because it's okay if you don't. So that was my letter to my ex, and I feel good about it. I feel great, and I'm looking forward to seeing myself grow. I'm looking forward to seeing even him. I got him blocked, but in some kind of way, I'm probably gonna see if he grow. I'm looking forward to seeing him grow in the new year as well. Thank you for joining another episode of MyCurlsSpeak with Key. If you like to follow the show's Instagram, is MCS with Key. For my personal tags on Instagram, it's the Diary of Key, and that's also my tag on Clubhouse, Twitter, and Snapchat if you're interested in following me on there. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.